used to maximum 14 minutes. Taking that step up, that's double. And in this heat, it is quite intense. Fair enough, maybe
Mm.
it's only, 5 minutes difference from 30 to 25 minutes. So it's not like it's a drastically different format for race number two. I think that's Theo Mercurius, if I'm not mistaken, down there on the circuit, racing in the
Mm.
Le Mans Cup. That's a separate story in its entirety. But when we think about only a 5 minutes difference, round Aragon, that's going to work out to be what, 3 laps worth of racing. If you took off
Yeah.
3 laps from race one earlier, that's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much of the race taken away realistically because of how the timing works with us having that extra lap after the time runs out. So, yeah, I think the drivers are going to have that in mind for this. They know the format by now more than we do, anyway. But I think that they're going to have that in mind for when they need to hold and when they need to fold. As I say, I think that it's going to be a very exciting one because of the fact there is that 5 minute difference and the tires. The tyres' life may be still a factor, obviously, in the heat, but not as much as it would be over a half-hour race, let's say. You can see the pit lane is now absolutely filled with the cars, the teams, the personnel, everybody wanting to get set up and good to go. And happy to say that the weather hasn't changed at all, has it, Zach? It's still going to be a big challenge. And I think people often they look at wet weather racing and think, oh, that's challenging. But they often forget how challenging a hot day can be as well.
Yeah, us in sim racing background, it wasn't until I really got, I say good, competitive maybe in some respects in sim racing, that I really start to realize how big of a difference track temperature, track conditions
Yeah.
actually make, and translate that into the real world. And it's a huge difference. When you've got a cold track that's rubbed in, that feels good, you've got tires in the right window, it feels like bliss, right? You ramp up the track temperature by 5, 10, 15 degrees Celsius, and it just becomes so sort of lazy and frustrating to drive, because you feel that the tires have got temperature, you feel that you've got grip, you've got confidence in the car, and then you're going around almost every corner feeling like you're taking so much speed, and yet all you're doing is scrubbing the fronts, unable really to get the power down on exit because the rears are so hot. And especially in a car like the Formula 4 machinery, where fair enough they have got downforce, but it's not a huge amount. You are still relying on a lot of mechanical grip. You are still putting quite a lot of load through the tyres. If they then start to scrub too much, and Aragon, there's a lot of change of direction, there's a lot of heavy load sort of being pressed down, especially on the outside tyres through some of the combined G corners. You start to scrub a little bit more, and the track and the conditions just feel so much lazier, and it is a challenge in of itself to keep those tyres alive. Thankfully,
Yeah.
like I said and alluded to earlier, these Hankook tyres are a very, very good compound for these cars. They can go for 7 or 8 laps flat out in qualifying, which helps the guys when they need to get both a fast lap and a good second fastest lap for race number two, as has been the
Yeah.
case to set the grid for this one. But overall, the tyres can take it, which is a testament, of course, to Hankook and the quality of their tyres. But equally, the race is a little bit longer than 8 laps, so you are going to need to have an element of tyre conservation when you get into that sort of, from maybe 22 minutes onwards. That's going to be the real sort of the game changer, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Just between races, there have been some stewards' decisions as such, and some penalties have been handed out. We just had the final classification come through, and one of the big changes from that first race is that Boris Lysen has been given a 10-second penalty in that previous race, which drops him to a finishing position of 25th. So way down the order, and it actually puts him back into third place in the championship instead of being up there in second, 1 point off Rocco Coronel. So Rocco Coronel will really breathe a sigh of relief as a result of that. And unfortunately, another driver that lost out big time there is Elliot Kaczynski, because he's now finished 28th in that earlier race as well, way out of the points. So it's really shaking things up there, Zach. But that's how these things go in these races. They're very chaotic. A lot of the reviews get done afterwards. That's not necessarily a reflection on the stewards and their pace of doing things, but there's so much to assess with so many cars on the circuit, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot to look at, and a lot went on as well. Let's not forget in race one, it
Yeah.
wasn't a tame race by any stretch of the imagination. The fact that there was such a late safety car, remember, we only had a 1 lap dash at the end. Everyone was bunched up, and there were battles on that final lap that spread people out, but that means a penalty picked up on the final lap so much more consequential than if the race was ran from green flag from start to finish. Boris Lysen, it a 10-second penalty, maybe he would have gotten it, maybe he wouldn't. We can't really speculate on that. Hindsight is a beautiful thing. But say if he still got the same 10-second penalty, if the race was green flag from the start, it's a completely different 10-second penalty than when we had a very late safety car that only gave him one lap to drive. A big shame, of course, for Boris Leisen because he was coming into this race with the opportunity of taking the championship lead. Now, obviously, he's going to be fueled by that frustration. Hopefully, by virtue, he's going to sort of channel that frustration to get his way forward, to challenge for the lead, and once again go for potentially another podium.
Oh, the number 11 machine there, Rahim Alibhai, having a bit of a rough moment there in the Monlau car, hoping to get out of the pit lane as quickly as he can, but no, he had to, well, straighten up and then get out of it and then get pushed back again. It's always an interesting thing, actually. I've been in a couple of pit lanes before at different circuits, commentating on other series, and then had the chance to see these F4 championships and other open wheel championships have this procedure where they all line up in the pit lane, it goes green, and then all of a sudden they just get launched down the pit lane together, and everybody tries to get out as quickly as possible. It's quite the interesting thing to bear witness to, and obviously we get that done differently to a lot of other racing series that have different procedures. But all they do, Zach, I mean, you can see it just behind the graphic there. All they've done is just rush out like mad to eventually line up at the end of the pit lane.
And start in the same grid position as well, which is largely
yeah.
consequential.
It's like people standing up to get off the plane, isn't it, when it lands?
Yeah, exactly. Just to keep waiting for their bag for half an hour. Anyway, we digress. We're British. It's fine. There you can see the circuit that will be racing around. Of course, the Circuito de Motorland Aragon, a fantastic venue for round number 3 of the F4 Spanish Championship, right in the north of Spain, but very, very warm. And as we alluded to earlier, a big pain to get to. Let's say that much. In terms of overtaking opportunities, we saw basically every part of the circuit was fair game in race 1.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Like, go where you want. There's a lot of runoff here. There's a lot of big concrete areas on the exit of a lot of corners, so it's not really easy to put yourself in a place where you're going to end up in gravel or anything else. You can see at the moment the air temperature is 36 degrees Celsius at the moment at the circuit, and it's of no surprise. There's quite a lot of wind, though. You can see by that little fan that was spinning around there, humongous amount of wind on this part of the circuit. There is the calendar for this season. As you can see, we have a wonderful selection of racing circuits. It's great to see that, of course, in Spain they have such a wonderful selection of tracks, many places to go to, where it's almost like us in here in the UK. There's too many circuits in the UK, if you ask me, but yeah, they do all right in Spain as well. After this, we'll be going to Jarama in August on the 22nd. It's going to feel like a long time until we head there. Can you believe that a circuit as narrow and twisty as that hosts truck racing as well? We've got Jerez for round 5 of the championship, and then Navarra. I really do love Navarra. I'm excited to see how these cars go there. And then Montmeló, a circuit that will, of course, be well known to many people, the Barcelona-Catalunya race for the finale of the championship in November. I once made the mistake of heading there thinking, oh yeah, t-shirt and shorts weather, I'm going to Spain. It was absolutely freezing because it's in November, and I'm clearly very stupid. But still, it's a great calendar, isn't it, Zach? Loads of interesting circuits with their own little characteristics to think about.
Yeah, sort of with the analogy of the UK, we've got Donington, Cadwell, Alton Park, Brands Hatch. All of them have the same, I guess, feel, right? But in their own respects, so much different character. Like, the Craner Curve is very different to the Knickerbrick Chicane from Donington to Alton Park, for example.
Yeah.
And it's the same in Spain. You've got Valencia, which is so technical and undulating. You've got Aragon, which, of course, is a little bit more, straight line speed orientated. We then, of course, go to Barcelona, which is quite a balanced circuit in all respects. I think it's a brilliant circuit. So there's a reason why it's the testing circuit for so long. It's so balanced. There's a bit of everything when you go to Barcelona. And that's what the calendar, I think, does really, really well. It tests so many different characteristics of what makes such a good driver. You see a lot of the time in certain series, they'll go to the same circuit for all 3 of their rounds, or they'll only do 2 or 3 circuits. And it doesn't really test the versatility of the driver. I know that's your favourite word, Chaz. And I think this calendar really does cater to the versatile.
Yeah, definitely. I think this place and Navarra have a lot of things in common. Navarra's got some fast, long straights as well, some really tight, twisty sections, a lot of square corners as well. But then the likes of Jerez, for example, that's going to be a really high-speed circuit. There's a lot of big, long, sweeping curves there as well. I'm not sure if we're going to actually be running the chicane at Jerez or whether we're going to use the sort of faster, quote-unquote, layout of the circuit where you head round a sort of quadruple apex right-hander. Either way, we're not there at the moment. We're here at Motorland Aragon, a circuit that I think is massively underrated by a lot of people. I really do think it's a very difficult circuit to get around. I'm sure Zach and I have both driven it in the sim, and it's, from a driver's perspective, you never really know what to expect. And because of how vast and open it is, you can see there just how much gravel and runoff there is around the track. It's hard to pick out braking markers, isn't it? Because everything's so far away from you. There's a massive hill right on our shot now, but I was going to say there's not a massive amount of scenery to use as a brake marker.
No, this is where things like track furniture really come into play. Track furniture, I obviously mean your curbs, your barriers, the different colours of tarmac, any marshal posts as well, really good bits of things to use, flag posts, anything like that, anything solid that you can use is it is a really solid braking marker. But also, there isn't a lot of it. A lot of places around here, you've got your brake distance boards, the 150, the 100, the 50. They are gold when it comes to braking references. But a lot of the corners around here, they go over a crest. They dip away from you. They dip, down and sort of, like I say, over a crest. So you're not really seeing the apex of the corner by the time you get there. That's where a skill like vision, which is something that I think is ironically overlooked quite a lot as a driver, because you're constantly having to look almost a step ahead of yourself. Before you get to your braking zone, you're looking into the apex. Before you get to the apex, you're looking at the exit. And that, at a circuit that undulates, where corners go over crests and there's blind apexes, is so important. You're not braking necessarily from reference, but you're looking into the corner and gauging from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be right on it from the get-go. So here is your grid then. We've got Nathan Tighe starting on pole position and race one winner, Nacho Tunion, starting alongside him. Then we've got Kaczynski and Petrovic next up. They're going to be fighting it out from the second row of the grid. On row 3, we have Shawmans alongside Vivek Kanthan. We then have Mickey Blaskos and Boris Lysen on row 4. Lysen, after getting that penalty earlier, will need to fly through. We've got Kelleher alongside Coronel on row 5. Row 6 is going to be just Mulder in car 27 alongside Noah Montero. Then it's Louis Cochet in car 39. He got a penalty earlier on. He's alongside Ty Fisher. Row 8 is Jacob Mikulev and Jensen Burnett. Row 9, we then have Fausto Arnaudo and Felipe Rice. Then we have currently Alex Pinera. He's one that we mentioned before, isn't he, Zach, with starting really far down the order and hoping to come through in this race. Yanni Stephen Haydens is in 20th position. Then it's Bo Loet and Max Radek next up, followed by Philippe Armand Carras and Jean-Paul Carras, the two, I believe, brothers on the same row of the grid. Luna Fluchier will start on row 13 alongside Zoe Florescu. Then it's Yuzuki Sato alongside Sebastian Frigole. Next up we have Sam Uris alongside Alphonse Maitinen. Maria Neto, Dean Pedersen, Rodrigo Martinez, Simon Bulbarella, and Ryusho Nakazato complete our grid. And we're going to throw down to Alex so I can hold my breath. Alex, what can you see? What can you hear?
Hello, guys. Sorry,
I
was just listening to you talking about the Carras brothers, and I just want to mention, for those that may not be in the know, that they're not just brothers, they're twins. So they have this special relationship and also special rivalry, as you can imagine. And what I can tell you, and this is also quite interesting, is that, of course, the heat continues to be a big factor here in Motorland Aragon, but these guys here in my left, Nathan Tighe, Nacho Tunion, and all the drivers behind, so far we're seeing that they are choosing to go with new tires mostly, which is interesting because it means that they are not assuming that used tires would hold until the end. Any driver who uses used tires potentially has less chances. But important, if we have any safety car during the race, things will become a little bit tighter between them. And as you can see, yes, we're seeing some new tires in here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wondered if people would be using new tyres for the second race of the day just to get all of that performance out of the car. But as Zach mentioned earlier on, actually, Zach, being able to push for 7 or 8 laps flat out in a row is probably one of the most amazing things you could hear about a tyre, because in so many forms of sport, you go for a fast lap and then you have to wind it back up again, don't you?
Yeah, you do. It's a challenge in of its own right to have those types of tyres, but I think these guys are quite spoiled in that respect. But also, it's an element of you don't want to bite off too much, because fair enough, you have the confidence in the tyre to push it for 7 or 8 laps, especially at a circuit like Aragon, which is demanding. Equally, you still want to have some life left. Whatever you can save, you will then subsequently be able to use at the end of the race, and that is really where it counts, especially when we have, often a safety car period or two. Do you want to use those 7 or 8 laps of consecutive push laps at the beginning, build a bit of a gap, but then risk that gap getting completely squashed by a late safety car? Or do you want to risk it, conserve your tyres, and bank on the fact there's going to be a late safety car? It's that sort of thing where you're weighing up those decisions, and ultimately you're not going to know if you've made the right decision until right at the end of the race, where everyone finds out if you've made the right decision.
Yeah, that's one of the difficult things here, Alex. And like we said earlier, it may have been a half-hour race for the first race of the day, but even 25 minutes is still going to be tough on these tyres and these drivers, right?
It is exactly as Zach was saying. It is a bit shorter a race, but you need to make those tyres last until the end, and you need to have them at the right moment, at the moment that you actually need them. If there's a safety car at the beginning, maybe that's a bit easier. You wait and you push later. But what happens if there's no safety car right at the start? Do you push? Do you save them? That is the intrigue of this Formula 4 Spanish Championship, especially because we know that safety cars are very common. So this is going to happen eventually. Later, sooner, that's the question. But it is going to happen.
Yeah, they will fall off at some point in these sorts of temperatures. 36 degrees air temperature there at Aragon at the moment. I'm very jealous, Alex, but I hope that you can find some good shade to reside in during the course of this race. And the formation lap will get underway. And for the second time, we're going to get Nathan Tighe on pole position here, Zach. He had a fantastic start to his previous race, but obviously the safety cars and everything really sort of threw a little bit of a curveball at him. What do you reckon we've got to look forward to this time?
Well, he's taken back-to-back P2s in terms of the races that he's finished, has Nathan Tighe. He took a brilliant pole position for race 1. He then backed it up with another pole position for race 2 by virtue of his fastest and his second fastest lap times for the 2 races. His starts are not the question. He is brilliant on the initial opening couple of laps. I think maybe what caught him out in race number 1 was just the charge of Nacho Tugnon. I think Tugnon threw everything he possibly could at it. Maybe a lack of opportunity for Nathan Tighe to launch much of a counter-attack. Tugnon played the final safety car really, really well. Now, of course, Tighe and Tugnon have both had a race of experience around Aragon. They know really where the overtaking opportunities are, especially on this weekend, because ultimately the circuit itself and the dynamic of the circuit can change from weekend to weekend. This weekend, vastly different to when we were here for the Winter Championship. So Nathan Tighe, he's got that experience. He knows where he needs to work on. Perhaps maybe looked at some of the onboards of Tugnon, knows where he's strong and weak relative to the Spaniard, and he's going to be swinging in this race. All he needs, I say, is as easy as this. He just needs another good start, settle into the rhythm, and find that groove, find that rhythm. I think a couple of small twitches in the key moments also are what cost him. On the final lap where he was chasing down Tugnon, we saw a couple of occasions where the car was sort of twitching underneath him, where really it needed to be planted to maximise the exit. So Nathan Tighe, He's got the potential, he's got the pace, he just needs to execute it.
Yeah, it just needs to string it all together. It's like a qualifying lap at a very difficult circuit, isn't it? You could nail one sector but then mess it up on the same lap. You've got to keep all of them very, very well tuned in one go. Any drivers in particular that you're keeping your eye out on for this one? Because, I think Casper Schaumann was really good in that first race, charging through, hoping to score a good result. He eventually finished in 10th place in the final classification, but I think that he was really the one that was showing us how to charge forward through the field.
Yeah, 100%. Schaumann played the racecraft very, very well. Made the overtakes when they needed to be made. Wasn't overly aggressive. Decided when to make those overtakes in those crucial moments as well. Basically nailed that pack dynamic, something that translates straight from karting into Formula 4. So yeah, definitely look out for Casper Schurmans on the what will be the outside third row of the grid, starting P5. Also, Juste Mulder, the Dutchman from Motorland Motorsport, starting in P11. I believe it was P4 on the road earlier on for him. Definitely a brilliant result. I think his best result in Spanish F4 for Juste Mulder. Starting this one P11, made some moves earlier on today. Although, the only thing I will say, he is right in the thick of it. This is one of those where if you want to survive lap 1, you either want to be pole position or last. In the middle, from sort of, I guess, P10 down to about P25, you really are in that danger zone for an opening lap chaos.
Yeah, he's right in the middle of the paella, isn't he, in this one? He's really in the thick of it. But I'm excited to see how the drivers cope with this one. They're now armed with the knowledge of how the first race of the weekend went. Now they can do it again. Look at Nathan Tye, look, see, he wasn't driving over the grid boxes behind his just then. Creeps it up to the yellow line, makes sure that it's all spot on. Such a great looking livery that is. Really, really cool. A lot of nostalgia loaded up in that one. Final few rows of drivers then lining up on the grid. A lovely shot over the start-finish straight here. And our massive field of cars will be ready to go in a moment. 35 cars lined up on the grid here at Motorland Aragon. There's the best seat in the house, aside from the commentary box, from the start-finish gantry. It's Nathan Tye and Nacho Tunion alongside each other on the front row doing battle. 2 DriveX cars, 2 T-Code cars, let's say, and the second race of the weekend is already underway, and there's a car stalled on the grid on the right-hand side of our shot. Luckily, everybody able to avoid them. Very good stuff from all the drivers behind. Yellow flags were waving very quickly. Looks like the T-Code car from the second row of the grid has had a bit of a drop down there. Petrovic not getting the start he wanted. Car off in the background there. That's the number 78 machine running wide. That's Neto. And 2 cars together. Number 24, which is Loet again. Having a really bad day so far, Zach. Everybody else made it through unscathed.
It was Vivek Kanthan that was the one that got the poor start as well from basically from about P6. I think Vivek Kanthan started, dropped all the way to last. And yeah, not the best of starts for the likes of Luna Flusha, Frigolay and Bo Loet, all down and out before the races even got going. Safety car to sort of bring a bit of a tame resolution to some of that opening lap drama. But most importantly, for the likes of Nathan Tye, Tunion and, the top 2 at the very least, they were able to hold position. Another good start for Nathan Tye. Casper Schurmans, though, not waiting around for a second invitation. He's already up a couple of places and into P3.
Yeah, there unfortunately is the number 80 machine out of this race then, and that is Sebastian Frigolay. No front wing on, actually no, that's someone else's front wing has come off his, but yeah, he's got the damage on the front of the car, and you could see the guilty tyre marks up the side of that wing end plate for just a moment. Big shame that, because it did look like everybody was behaving themselves, and then just on the exit there, they've just tangled as everybody tries to hold it to a tight line. But I tell you what, hats off though, Zach. I mean, we've both covered quite a lot of stuff, but the speed at which the marshals and officials are on the scene getting these cars moved this weekend is lightning quick, isn't it?
And the reactions as well to get the double waved yellows when Kanthan stalled on the grid as well was immaculate. Really good stuff. So obviously, as always, a big shout out to the marshals, to the medical crews on circuit as well. They do such a good job as to making sure the weekend runs as smoothly, as safely, as efficiently as possible. And ultimately, we couldn't go racing without them. That is going to bring a premature end to the race for Frigolay, as we'll get another look at the start.
Yeah, so it was Kanthan, wasn't it, that wasn't moving. Look at that Schurman round the outside, 3 wide through turn 1, committed to go all the way around the outside. And then the contact comes in the middle of the pack, so they're 3 wide. And I think, Neto on the inside, Frigolay runs wide, clips the number 78 of Neto, I believe. And then it's Luna Flusha who ends up in on the left-hand side there, collected with another car. So I think it was just that little lock-up on the inside, and then in avoidance everybody else sort of got involved. We didn't quite see the initial contact, but unfortunately that is a very short and premature start to their race, and it'll be an early bath, as we say in UK commentary.
It was not even 5 minutes ago where we were asking the question, when is the safety car going to come out? That question got answered very quickly. Let's put it that way. The next question is, when is the next one? Make your predictions in the YouTube chat, ladies and gentlemen. 21 minutes, 45 seconds left on the clock for this one. Nathan Tye leads, Nacho Tunyon, Kasper Schulman's, though, you have to say, what a launch that was. And then also the Swede of Elliot Kaczynski for Drive X, currently running 1 and 4 of the Drive X team, the 46 of Nathan Tye and the 44 of Kaczynski. Now, we spoke about those two in the Drive X team regarding whether or not they're going to work together. Very quickly, we had that question answered in race number 1. The answer was no, they will not. Kaczynski and Tye both racing for themselves. There is a team's championship in the F4 Spanish Championship. Each team gets to nominate 2 drivers to be their points scorers. And ultimately, you know, there is still a team's championship on the line. That's something that the teams will want to go and win. Largely, it's been dominated by MP Motorsport and by Campos, basically for the entire history of the F4 Spanish Championship, especially the last 4 years or so. But ultimately, it seems that Nathan Tye and Elliot Kaczynski have very little regard for that, and they were going out, well, all guns blazing, really, in race 1, and with one of them in P1, the other one close behind in P4. I'm sure we're probably going to see history repeat itself when this safety car comes back into the pit lane.
Yeah, I imagine there's going to be quite the battle here. At the end of the day, these are all drivers that are wanting to make their way up the ranks as quickly as possible to prove themselves. The teams are giving them the platform to perform and try and get up the ranks. But yeah, it seems like the drivers care about themselves before all others. But at the end of the day, that's motorsport. It's an individual performance before anything else in most forms. I do like my speedway where it's in pairs. But yeah, in motorsport like this, it is individual stuff. Such a great shot that down the back straight as they all weave, and we'll go into the pit lane and quickly speak to Alex. Alex, unfortunate incident at the start there, but these things happen with such a big field.
We said that before the start, didn't we? It was just a matter of when safety cars were going to come out, not if. I have to admit, I was not expecting it to come right at the start. We were seeing just behind me, and of course the team has already gone into the garage. We saw Luna Flusa's car being wheeled in. Unfortunate start of the last race of the day for her. I did want to mention, though, I heard you guys speaking about the nominated drivers. Just to clarify a little bit for those of our spectators who maybe are not following the regulations to the detail, the nominated drivers are actually nominated automatically based on their positions on the previous weekends. So it's not so much that the teams make that choice, but rather it goes automatic.
Nicely said. Thank you very much, Alex. Race is back underway. And already the battles are raging. There's car 81 side by side with 38. That's Montero and Kelleher getting straight back to the action. Nathan Tye had a decent restart there, actually, Zach, and it looks like now Tunyon's going to have to turn his attentions to his rearview mirror and Schulman, because he is really, really coming up quickly, leading the rookie class at the moment, and that MP Motorsport machine is flying.
Yeah, off the back, as here comes the move for the lead, actually down the inside. Nacho Tunyon, that is a brave place to go for it into turn number 7. Nathan Tye the wiser to it, but Kasper Schulman with Boris Lysen's penalty and Coronel not having the best of weekends, Kasper Schulman has got an opportunity to claw back some crucial points in this championship, potentially even to come out of today in the lead of the championship, or at the very least much closer than he was. Now in the slipstream though, on that run in towards the chicane at turns 13 and 14, look at how much closer that red and white car of Kasper Schulman's is to the rear end of the 17.
Oh, it goes one way then the other, and it looks like Tunyon couldn't quite decide either. If he carries the speed around the outside, he'd be on the inside for the next part of this, but that's not really an overtaking opportunity around here at Motorland Aragon. And I tell you, Nathan Tye is going to be hoping that those two guys continue fighting harder and harder, because that will give him a little bit of breathing room for the rest of this race. Doesn't look like he's going to get it anytime soon. Seems like Nathan's not quite got the pace in some of the twisty bits that Tunyon does, because Tunyon has caught up really quickly there. There's actually 5 of them for the lead now. Boris Lysen in the background there has got the rest of the field behind him, all packed up and ready to go. A little bit of weaving here and there, but Nathan has been nice and respectful with the fact that those guys are getting closer and closer. He doesn't want to throw the car around too much. Look at them all changing direction in the braking zones, though. If we had a penalty every time that happened. Boris Lysen there trying to defend from Rocco Coronel. Coronel started 10th on the grid, so he was a little bit higher up. Sorry, he wasn't 10th on the grid, was he? He was a little bit before, a bit ahead of that. So now he's in 7th place and he's going okay. But yeah, Nathan Tye, he is still having to think about defending here. He's not going to want to, especially with the other two battling on that previous lap, but he is really having to think about it now.
ducking and diving there. Just on the rear end of Coronel was Noah Montero trying to make a move, locked up into turn number 1 and very nearly found his way into the rear end of the MP Motorsport machine. At the front though, it's still Nathan Tye for DriveX. That's that red and white machine, red, white and black machine that we can see. Then comes the T-code, the purple and the black directly behind the red and white MP Motorsport of Casper Schauman's there as well. Defensive into turn number 7, Nathan Tye the wiser to the aggression of Nacho Tunion, who gets the switch back, and look at this, nose to tail, the top 3 getting reeled back into the equation though. Kaczynski and Petrovic, as there's contact, the 88 gets sent round. That's Mikos Blakos for Monlau. I think could well still be able to continue in this race, but yellow flags in the sector nonetheless.
Yeah, that's a big shame, but I mean, there's a huge swarm of them in the middle of the field, as you can see. So those guys eventually were going to make contact. They're all ducking this way and that way, like you said, Zach. You know, so much movement in the braking zones, and everybody trying to duck and dive for whatever position they can. Top 5 remains as such at the moment, and it's still Nathan Tye leading Tunion, Schauman's, Kaczynski, and then Petrovic. And there's only one driver from MP Motorsport in this. He's then surrounded by 2 DriveX cars and 2 T-code cars as well. So he's going to be outnumbered a little bit. Look at the movement here behind Nathan Tye. Oh, Schauman's forced all the way over to the side of the road. This is a look back at what happened in the background. Oh, he just saw the end of it. I think it was wheel-to-wheel contact. You could see the 88 hop and skip and jump. A good look at all the sponsors on the side of the car, at least giving them some airtime while it sits still. And Schauman's gone for it. He's gone for second position. He's overtaken Tunion. Now Tunion's going to have the run down the start-finish straight. Is he going to be able to make the move back into turn 1, though? We'll have to wait and see, because he's not going to get too much slipstream from there, because he started right behind Schauman's. They're moving so much on the straights. It's amazing that they're not actually making contact with each other, but great racing nonetheless for us to watch, Zach.
Yeah, keeping us entertained, that's for sure. Here comes Casper Schauman, a think to the inside of turn number 3. Nathan Tye under a world of pressure. Still over half this race remaining, just under 15 minutes of it. But Schauman's with the pace and with the aggression. 5 cars, though, involved in this lead fight. This is brilliant for race number 2 of the F4 Spanish Championship. Round number 3, of course, as we head up the hill once more in towards turn number 7. Under pressure, Casper Schauman's to the outside. Goes Nacho Tunion. Kaczynski goes down the inside as well. Trying to put 2 DriveX cars inside the top 3. Can't quite make that one stick, though, as they now head to the peak of the hill through turns 8 down in towards 9. Nathan Tye with a little bit of breathing space, but Casper Schauman now with an opportunity to use the slipstream will be right back onto his gearbox.
Absolutely will. And look behind these lot as well. You've got Boris Lysen and Rocco Coronel arriving on the scene. They're going to be in the slipstream of each other. They could also bring Noah Montero into this. On top of that, Tunion moves to the inside. Is he actually going to go for it on Kaczynski into there? I said earlier on it wasn't an overtaking opportunity, and he says, yes, it is, Chaz. Watch this. Back up into 4th place goes Petrovic, it was, making the move on Kaczynski. I was going to say, I thought him and Tunion hadn't swapped positions. That's my bad. Still, same livery, you can forgive me. But right now, we've got the 2 T-code cars, 3rd and 4th. Nathan Tye remains ahead of Casper Schauman's, and they now begin weaving once again down the back straight. There's a couple more cars being brought into this as well, actually. Behind Montero, you've got Kelleher as well, hoping to be a part of this scrap, and now Nathan Tye defends the inside line. But to be fair, Schauman's was great around the outside into here earlier on, really gets squeezed to the edge of the track. Nathan making sure he uses every bit of road. Oh, nearly contact in the background there. I think car forced off the road. I think Boris Lysen wanted a piece of that. I think he was in there with Kaczynski. But now it's on for the lead again here, and to be fair, actually, Zach, more in the background. They're getting away a little bit from Tunion and his teammate.
If they cracked on, they very easily could make a bit of a move and break away. But around the outside, Casper Schauman's is going to give it a go through T1. Nathan Tye giving him just enough room and not a millimetre more. Forced to concede there is the number 40. Getting himself involved now. Look for the Red Bull liveried car of Rocco Coronel driving onto the back of the top 5. The more they battle, the more the chasing pack of the rest of the top 10 also get reeled back into the mix. Still half of this race remaining, let's not forget. Nathan Tye, though, trying to be as unstoppable as possible. Trying to be the most immovable object he possibly can as well. Fastest lap of the race goes to Kelleher down in P9, showcasing that he can see the battling in front and wants to be part of it as quickly as he possibly can. We tick over the halfway mark. There's our race leader, the 46 DriveX machine of Nathan Tye, searching for his first victory of the season, let's not forget. He's fed up with finishing P2.
Yeah, always the bridesmaid, as we say. Amazing to see the top 9 drivers separated by just 3 seconds at the moment. Some fantastic battling going on here. Now, the question's going to be, will the T-Code cars work together, Tunyon and Petrovic? They're 3rd and 4th at the moment. They have to think about Boris Lysen behind them because Boris is absolutely flying at the moment in the KCL Motorsport machine. But he is bringing with him championship leader Rocco Coronel. Rocco will be pleased after that first race to have more of a bit of a gap to the drivers behind in the championship due to the penalties, but I suppose he's got the benefit of the one he's chasing is Boris Lysen, who was just lost a load of championship points as well. Some great action though in this first day of racing here at Motorland Aragon. A little bit more weaving this time down towards the penultimate corner. Again, Nathan Ty just putting the car right place, right time. Move on Petrovic actually from his teammate there, really going for it again. Zach, teammates not really working together.
No, not in the slightest. And for T-Code as well, it's interesting. They're the newest sort of team on the block, if you like. And yet, of course, that double podium earlier on meant the world to them. Right now, they've got an opportunity maybe to work together and go for P1 and P2. Not the case at all. Boris Lysen ducking and diving. Also, Noel Montero looking to go to the outside of Rocco Coronel. The 81 keeps his foot in. What a move that is there from the Griffin Core 81 to find his way through and up into 6th place. That battling, though, is halting their progress very easily. Both Montero and Coronel could be involved in this fight for the podium. Meanwhile, they're tripping up over each other, being the one to lead the offensive charge. And right now, all they've done is bridge that gap even bigger. Still, though, the continuity is Nathan Ty from Casper Schurman's 1-2.
Has to be said that Pedersen's going well as well. Look on the left-hand side, 12 places gained for him from 32nd on the grid into the top 20. It's a big shame that the result sheet won't tell the full story and it won't score him any championship points, but still a great drive all the same. Needs to be mentioned. Noah Montero, 6 places gained into the top 10. He's the biggest mover inside the first half of the field. Coronel got a really good run on him around the outside there. I thought actually that he'd slowed down for just a moment, but we'll have to see how they go into the next couple of corners. It's still very much the top 5 now because, yeah, Coronel's got back in front of Montero. So I think he might have considered that at turn 1 he might have overtaken off the circuit because he looked like he ran very wide to get that position. Maybe he was giving it back just to make sure he didn't get a penalty for it, because that's what the penalty for Boris Lysen was earlier on, was basically having a car off the circuit and gaining advantage. We've got the top 5, though, still right together. Look at that, Coronel straight away defending. It's actually a couple of, what would they be, quintets now, all dealing with each other. But Nathan Ty, he's staying at the front here, Zach, regardless of slipstream. Really good job so far.
Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do down the inside as well. That's Petrovic on Tunyon going for a dive to the inside, basically race to the apex into turn 15. Also side-by-side Coronel versus Montero. Basically pick your poison when it comes to who you want going side-by-side down into this hairpin. Brilliant racing that we've got. What it has done, though, look at that. Petrovic in front of Tunyon, immediately on the defensive. White lining it now for the podium, has allowed Ty and Schurman to get away. 3 wide towards turn 1 as Boris Lysen will go for P3. That's going to fail side-by-side between Montero and Coronel. It's all kicking off now with 9 minutes to go for race 2.
I thought Boris Lysen had spun then. It looked really out of shape going through turn 1. There's a little bit of drama there as well. A bit further down the order, some of the drivers taking to the runoff area on the right-hand side of the circuit. Everybody's really pushing the limits here. That's one of the other DriveX cars a bit further down the order. That's Bulbarella in the number 32 machine. But now look, Boris Lysen throwing himself at Nacho Tunyon down the inside once again. He goes nearly wheel-to-wheel contact. Tunyon has to get out of it. He's got to come back onto the circuit at some point. Coronel's just leading a huge train of cars behind. Look at the top 2 now, though, Zach. They're really breaking away. Ty and Schurman's, and that's great for Casper Schurman's because that means that he is going to have a much easier lead in the rookies, but it's also going to mean he can have a go at Nathan Ty without worrying about somebody taking advantage behind them.
What it means is that Schurman's, you're right, exactly, he can set up a switchback. The problem with going for a switchback when you're second place in what was a 5-car train is that you lift off a bit early, you try and set up a good exit, and very quickly you've got a car on your inside. When it's a 1v1, you don't really have to worry about that. You're not having to look in your peripheral. All you're focusing on is how can I get a better run than the car in front of me. They've bridged a 2-second gap, and if Schurman's, he knows he can stay within 3/10 of Nathan Ty. It's not a problem to stay in the battle. So he can delay this as long as he wants, really. He can give himself a lap, 2 laps, however long he wants. It all depends as to when he's going to press the button and actually go for the lead. That might be now, though, as down the inside, Nathan Ty will defend, ducking and diving, selling in the dummy. Not really sure what side of the circuit he wants. Casper Schurman goes to the outside to fight for the lead, and that gap that they once built now going to be slashed, probably down to 1.5 seconds next time they break the beam.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he sold him the dummy, then he had it back with a refund, and then he gave him back the interest on it as well. He absolutely lobbed it back down the inside. It still didn't work. Nathan Tye would have been gritting his teeth on the way into the apex there. That would have been very scary from the wheel of the 46 machine. But the two of them still absolutely glued together. You can see the number 40 on Shulman's car is red to signify that he's a rookie. The rest of it's very red as well, actually. And I imagine if it's going on like this too long, there might be a bit of red mist involved. Look at the teams holding every bit of their hair in their hands just to make sure that they are as tense as possible, I imagine, in the pit garage. But Nathan Tye is doing a great job at defending this, to be honest with you. It just means now, though, they need to be careful because Petrovic has gained quite a lot of time after that attack. He was 0.4 of a second quicker. He's just done a purple sector 1 as well now, Zach. So the pace is matching his progress.
Exactly that. Petrovic, who was in the stewards room actually off the back of race 1, was able to keep his podium. So T-Code naturally were elated with that one. He doesn't want to settle for 2 third places. He wants to go for more. Does Andrej Petrovic. Took a podium at race number 2 at Portimao. Took a podium for race number 1 here at Aragon. It could well start a bit of a streak going on if he's able to get his head down. The gap is less than a second, and with 6 minutes left to go, very easily we could have 3 cars involved in this lead fight. Now, going back to what I was saying about Shulman's, that sort of dynamic of a 1v1 is going to get ripped up straight away. If he's in the middle of a 3-car train, that's a much bigger headache. He's looking forwards to attack, backwards to defend. Ideally, he needs to get through on Nathan Tye to establish control of this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd never want to be in the middle of a group like this. You never want to be the driver that's... I always call it a reverse Newton's cradle, you know. Usually in a Newton's cradle, it's the balls on the outside that are bouncing one way then the other. But in this case, it's the one in the middle that seems to have the gaps building and then shrinking around him. And Casper Shulmans will now be very aware of the fact that Petrovic has closed up on these two. Boris Lysen is then only another 0.6 of a second. Actually, no, he's not. He's 1.3 seconds back. Sorry, I thought that was cumulative timing on the left-hand side. But no, has actually got a decent gap over Boris Lysen. He's not completely out of slipstream range right now, but you can see the guys on the pit wall shifting all of their attention to this lead battle with just a few laps to go. Sure, there may be 5 minutes left of this race, Zach, but it is a long old lap here at just over 2 minutes. Although I say that, Petrovic has just gone under 2 minutes, a 1:59.6 fastest lap of the race. That's getting on, that is.
That's very impressive. An extra point going his way if he's able to hold the fast lap, which I imagine he probably will be able to. He's got the perfect blend there of space to push, but also the slipstream. So that was a perfect recipe for a quick lap there for Andrej Petrovic. We talk about the tyres. 20 minutes into this race, 56 degree track temp, not a problem for the Hankook tyres. Andrej Petrovic looking very, very good indeed. Ducking your way through turn number 9, this long sweeping turn 10. Barely flat. If you're able to turn, you've got to delay the turn in as much as possible because it really does tighten up on the exit. Here comes the move, potentially Casper Shulman all over the rear end of Nathan Tye, but yellow flags now through the middle sector of the circuit.
Yeah, I heard a noise there, and I think the 44 car is off. Oh, that's down at turn 1. That was the number 71 and the number 18 coming to blows there, but car 44 has stopped between turns 8 and 9, according to the track map that I can see. And, well, you could hear some sort of screeching and scraping in the background there. I'm not quite sure what happened to them. We'll have to keep our eye out and see whether they do get going again. They have, actually, yeah. Cars 44 and 13 have come to blows, but they have now gotten going again. But, unfortunately, that is Kaczynski, so he's having a bit of a tough day so far. It looks like Radek has dropped a few places as well. Back to the front, though. There's going to be, I'd imagine, 3 laps to go here, Zach, and touch wood. No other safety cars so far. We should get this lap, another one, and then when the timer has obviously hit 0, we get the +1 after that. Nathan Tye will be happy right now, though, because Shulmans and Petrovic are fighting.
He will indeed, side by side towards turn number 1. Casper Shulman's deterring the move there. You can see how wide this circuit is and how narrow these Formula 4 cars are as well. We got nearly 4 abreast, I think, on the opening lap towards turn number 1, with still some space either side. I wouldn't recommend using it, but it was there nonetheless. Casper Shulman's, though, just saying to Petrovic, look, come on, we can work together. Stay behind me. Use me as your battering ram, for lack of a better word. The front left, though, locking up the hill. Very easy to do, though. You're coming off that left-hander, basically braking as soon as you can get the wheel straight, sometimes just a little bit before that. And when the car's still loaded up laterally, you press the brake and that front left, understandably, is going to start to lock up. He's got to be careful of Shulmans. He doesn't want to lose the momentum and allow Nathan Tye to have a nice, easy, relaxed last 2 laps of this race.
Yeah, that tyre will be feeling like a 50p piece after that sort of lock-up. It'll feel very, very square. Like you were saying, though, these tyres are very, very resilient. They aren't quite hand-cooked at the moment in these temperatures, but they are really, really holding up. Oh, it's awful. I have a child, so I'm allowed to make dad jokes. We've got Nathan Ty still leading this, though, and he's thinking, right, please, Petrovic, just get back behind that number 40 and get fighting again, please. That would be perfect for me to take my first win of the season. As we mentioned, Nathan Ty's had a couple of second places so far. He had a DNF back at Portimao in the second race of the day, so he will be begging to try and get this one across the line. But I tell you, Shawman's, I mean, I pointed him out earlier, didn't I, Zach? I thought he did a fantastic job in the first race of the day. Really feisty and really pushing forward. It's great to see him carry that momentum through into race 2 here.
Yeah, like I say, you know, he was a bit of a dark horse in terms of the fight for the championship coming into this round. It was Lyson and Coronel that we were mainly focused on. Shawman's coming into it, you know, sort of 12 points adrift, but with Coronel down in P7, not really able to make much of an advance, and Lyson's penalty in race 1, Shawman's has got an eye in here to the white line. Nathan Ty will defend on the penultimate lap of the race. Petrovic is also trying to get involved. Here comes Casper Shawman's, though, to the outside. 2 wheels off the circuit, 4 wheels off the circuit, though, as they're still side by side up the hill now. Nathan Ty on the outside, but Casper Shawman's has got the advantage as they make their way now towards turn number 3, trying desperately to keep his nose ahead as the 46 through the left-hander. Casper Shawmans will take the lead of the race.
Oh, he's had a big lock-up, though, into the left-hander. It looks like Nathan Ty's going to get the run on him, and he does around the outside through the right-hander. The circuit's going to come back to Shawman's, though, as they get to the next braking zone. Look out for Petrovic, and look out for Boris Lyson as well. Lyson could be in the mix here as well. Nearly wheel-to-wheel contact. Oh, goodness me. Great avoidance by Petrovic. Goes right, then goes left, as Shawman slows down on the exit of the corner into 8 and 9, all carrying way too much speed into there. Boris Lyson needs to be patient here because he could definitely gain at least 2 positions out of this if this all goes wrong. There's one more lap to go, and I tell you, it may have been 4 wheels off the circuit at turn 1, Zach. I think it was 8 in total with both of them. They were way, way off, weren't they?
Yeah, just call the track where you like it, really, lads. No problem at all. Nathan Ty back into the lead of the race, though. All of that largely inconsequential. Shawman's from Petrovic, from Lyson. Still could go any which way. I know Aragon is a host of a lot of bike racing. Very emulative of that is this race right now. We've got 4 cars all involved. Don't count out Nacho Tunion. To be fair, if the last lap is anything like this one, he could still be a shout for the podium. This is where racecraft and awareness really come into the fray. Weaving down the back straight towards the hairpin at turn 15. Nathan Ty will go once, go twice. Casper Shawman's following him. Not quite close enough is Lyson. Deciding on the inside line, though. Shawman's once again ducking and diving and searching for the gap, but can't quite do it. Has to defend because, again, he's in the middle of this train. He can't set up a switchback without Petrovic eyeing up the inside.
Yeah, it's still a quartet as they head across the line, isn't it? But you're absolutely right. You've got Tunion not too far behind. On to the final lap then in race number 2 here in the F4 Spanish Championship at Motorland Aragon. And once again, Shawmans tries it round the outside. Lovely cutback behind them by Lyson. He goes one way, then the other on Petrovic. He's going to try and get him on the outside here. The road's going to come to him eventually. They'll go through the right-hander, but now they're going to go into a braking zone through a left-hander, which will put Lyson on the inside. It's going to be the 3 white and red cars for the top 3 positions here, but look out for T-Code in 4th and 5th. They could get this back if that previous lap, like Zach said, is anything to go on. Already Lyson having to defend. Shawman's not really launched an attack just yet. Do you think, Zach, that he's going to try and hold back a little bit and get the slipstream now he knows these guys are fighting?
Yeah, he's playing chess now, of course, is Casper Shawmans for MP Motorsport, the red and white versus the white and red of Nathan Ty. Fight for the podium, though. Look at that. RG Bargy getting the up and under, though. Beautifully done from Nacho Tunion to read that perfectly. Gets the up and under, finds his way onto the podium. That's going to come down to the final corner between the 3 to decide who's going to be joining us on the podium in a few moments' time. Also, look out for the fight for the lead. The 46 versus the 40. Nathan Ty versus Casper Shawmans. It's all going to come down to who can put their foot to the floor and get the best exit possible off this chicane.
I think Casper Shawmans down this back straight is going to be bending that throttle pedal into the bulkhead of the car. He's going to be forcing it through the bottom of the pedal box. And now they come on to said back straight. They've got such a big gap. He's got such an opportunity to go for it now. Like we said before, he doesn't have to worry about the car behind him. Tunion's actually got a good advantage over Lyson as well, so he's going well. But it looks like Nathan Ty has done enough to keep that gap. Lysen having to defend from Montero now, who's suddenly arrived on the scene. And now let's see what Shawmans can do. Goes to the outside, goes back to the inside, but Nathan Tye's going to hold it. Is he going to be able to take an optimal line on the exit? Runs a bit wide through the right-hander, but he's going to be okay. And Nathan Tye is going to take his first race victory of the season in the F4 Spanish Championship. Boy, he worked hard for that one. Shawmans is second, Tunion third, ahead of Lysen, Montero and Petrovic. And, well, Coronel, after that early charge through, didn't make any further progress there, Zach. But what a great battle for the win there. Very well deserved for Nathan Tye.
It's a nice welcome to the championship, isn't it? They must have known we were coming, Chaz. No, not in the slightest. Nathan Tye, though, what a drive. And you said very rightly, he had to work for that, right? He wasn't given it. And that's probably the best sort of race that you can have to take your maiden victory of the season, especially off the back of 2 second places, coming perilously close for Nathan Tye. He had the pace, he took pole position, but my oh my did he have to work for it. He defended brilliantly, was aggressive in all the right places, and I think it was just the fact of Casper Shawmans, the unstoppable force, Nathan Tye, the immovable object. It was a class battle between the two of them. And Nacho Tunion as well, you have to give him some credit. He was P5 by about a second and a half going on to the final lap. He crosses the line P3. That up and under through T9, expertly read between, of course, the two in front of them that basically just drove each other off the circuit. Tunion getting the up and under. Class move there to secure a podium for T-Code.
Yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful bit of situational awareness. And that reflects perfectly onto what we were saying earlier in the day during the first race, that these guys may be, not even old enough to have an actual driving license here in the UK, but they really know what they're doing. They are very, very good at what they do, and they have that situational awareness, not to just think, oh, I'm just going to throw it down the inside of everyone. They think, oh, if I back out here and concentrate on my exit, I could make a few places here. And Nacho Tunion, fired up, I imagine, by that race win earlier on today, has done exactly that. But what else can you say about Nathan Tye? Really, really deserving of that win, because he wasn't gifted it by a reverse grid or anything like that, or a safety car that meant there was no battle. He was right at the front throughout the whole thing, defending like his life depended on it, and he's got himself some big championship points. 18, in fact, from that one. And there is your result. Nathan Tye takes the victory from Casper Shawmans. Nacho Tunion, Boris Lysen, 4th place after a solid race there. Montero eventually in 5th place. Andrej Petrovic finishing in 6th. Rocco Coronel in 7th. And we have Daniel Kelleher in 8th place ahead of Mikalev. And Cochet actually finishing in 10th position. Cochet was way down the order in the previous result, so that'll be really good. Just Mulder in 11th place, we were talking about just earlier on. And then Fischer ahead of Arnaudo, with Pinheiro eventually 14th. We didn't see much of Pinheiro in that race. The battles were so good at the front, I suppose, Zach. We didn't really have to look that far back. But yeah, Pinheiro not making as much progress as we would have expected in that one. And in fact, we thought that the fastest lap was going to go to Petrovic. Goes to Canton.
Yeah, nicely done there. There's the celebrations for Drive X, Nathan Tye, deservedly so. And again, talking about the team sport, right? These guys, they put so much effort in. The mechanics, they travel around with the drivers, they really get to know them, and it means just as much to them as I'm sure it does to Nathan Tye. But Vivek Canton stalling on the grid to P15 like that.
Yeah,
he's not going to get any points for this race. He's not going to get any points for this race. Apart, does he even? I don't think he even gets the fastest lap point because he's not inside the top 9. Nonetheless, though, what a drive from Vivek Canton. But Nathan Tye, fully deserved, fantastic drive there from him. Shawmans as well, perilously close. I'm sure we'll be back for more. He takes another podium to add to what was already 2. It's now a 3rd, a 1st, and once again a P2. So he's done the trifecta this season so far. He'll be looking to add up to another victory when we head for race 3 tomorrow.
If it does have to go to somebody in the top 9, it will go to Kelleher, I believe. That's how the championship looks then. For the second time today, we have a championship graphic that shows Rocco Coronel just 1 point clear in the standings. This time ahead of Casper Shawmans, but fantastic drive that by Shawmans. Great, great offensive stuff. Lysen then ends up in 3rd place still, so he holds on to that position after another great drive from him. And again, it's just incredibly close all the way down there. You can see Mikalev and Blaskos tied on 18 points. Kelleher, strangely, only on the 15 points at the moment, but yeah, I tell you what, Kelleher will be wanting a bit more from the rest of the season based on his pace, because he seems to have always been on our screen so far today, right?
Yeah, exactly that. It's one of those where, you know, a driver can have so much potential but not really extract much of it. Just looking at Kelleher's results so far this season, he's been in the top 12 on every occasion bar race one earlier on, a 12th, a 10th, 6th, 11th, 9th and 9th. So he's only been in points paying positions on 3 of those occasions, because his P10 came in race 2. So he's finished 6th, 9th and 9th in terms of his point score. So before race number 2, of course, for Daniel Kelleher. The Irishman looking very, very strong. Of course, he's won championships with IAMA Euro Series, and I think Alex is down with our race winner.
Exactly, we're here with race 2 winner Nathan Tye. Nathan, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, first couple of rounds have been quite tricky for us, but no, we've made some good progress, made constant progress over the last 2 rounds, and yeah, I mean, it shows today, going double pole, P2 in race 1 and P1 in this one. Wasn't the easiest of races with the conditions and who was around me, but no, massively grateful for the team and everybody back home.
And you had to work hard for it. From the outside, it was massively entertaining. From the inside, I'd imagine you suffered a little bit more.
I'm not sure the word from my side's entertaining. I think, yeah, it was something, it was a great one for the fans, hopefully, and yeah, I mean, great race.
What are the expectations for tomorrow and indeed for the rest of the championship? Title fight, yes, no?
Yeah, I'd like to think we have a chance for the title. It's been good progress. Came second in the winter, which was a bit unfortunate to not take that, but no. Hoping to be the bride and not the bridesmaid in the championship.
How important is it to be able to carry a team on your shoulders as well and help them move back to where they belong?
Yeah, I mean, great progress for the team. I mean, we see with Elliot qualifying P3 today, it's not just myself that's taking it forward. You know, we're making a big team effort all together. Everybody's making good progress, and I mean, it's shown by the results today by both of us. So, yeah, massively great for the team, and this is definitely the start of something big.
Nathan, time to enjoy now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, there we go then. Nathan Tye over the moon with that. And like he said, the start of something big here, Zach. Once he's got that first win out of the way, now he's got a taste of it. He wants to carry on, surely.
You can imagine. I mean, it's all well and good winning one race, but, you know, that feeling, it's a high that you want to keep chasing. There's no other feeling like it, and it's an addiction almost to winning. So, you know, he's going to be constantly chasing the feeling that he has right in this moment. Of course, now he's going to have to relish on this adrenaline because it's the last race of the day. He's going to sleep with it. He's going to understandably celebrate it, and then going into tomorrow for race 3, he's going to need to try and get himself back composed once again. He doesn't want to go into it jittery, as if he's, you know, gotten straight back into the car for this one. He does need to compose himself, but at the very least, he knows there's a little bit less pressure. There's you know, he's already proved it. He's already proved that he can go and win. He knows now how good he is. He's validated sort of that question, if you will. And now he can go out there, all guns blazing, and prove how good he is. Of course, he was the vice champion of the Winter Series, 2 wins, 3 podiums. He's won throughout his entire karting career. Champions of the Future Europe, P3 in the OKJ European Championship. Nathan Tye is a historically very, very strong driver, and now he's been able to deliver that here in 2026. Last year, he did take a victory. Race number 2 at Paul Ricard, he was able to take that. He was P11 overall back in 2024. Was Nathan Tye. So now into his 3rd year. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity for him, really, to go all out for a full-on championship campaign. And if he can keep this momentum up, if he can keep this pace up between now and the end of the season, no reason why that isn't a possibility.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, at the end of the day, to take your first win within the first half of the season is much better than doing it in the final round of the championship when you think, oh, what might have been. He can now go chasing the likes of Rocco Coronel, Casper Schurmans, Boris Leisen as well. And he's got Noah Montero ahead of him. I think Noah's been very under the radar, actually, at this point. I think, especially in that race, actually, Noah ended up back inside the top 5, but a solid drive all the way through. That fantastic move that we saw around the outside of Rocco Coronel as well at turn 1. Some real big commitment in that one from Noah, and I'm really excited to see whether he comes out from being under the radar at some point in the next race or 2.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, it's a very consistent sort of Joe Blogs P5 in both races. You know, thereabouts. He's looked very good. And to be fair, coming into this weekend, Griffin Core / Campos, those 2 teams, the talk of the paddock was that they were the favourite realistically, I've not really seen too much evidence of them being, a strong favourite. T-Coda looking very good, DriveX looking very good, MP Motorsport looking very good. They were first and fourth with Shawmans and Lysen, of course, as part of KCL. But Griffin, Core and Campos, I think maybe a little bit more to be desired, and they're going to be chasing that going into tomorrow, whether the conditions change much, whether they can adjust much in terms of the setup, whatever it might be to go and chase that. They've got the ability, the drivers in the car, they just need to provide that platform for them to go and do it with.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and we'll provide a platform for Alex to come and give us a bit of a roundup on what's going on down there in the pit lane.
Well, guys, I have to say, despite Nathan Ty's protest, so to speak, I think that was a very, very entertaining race. I'm sure a bit less for him, but this is absolutely, to me at least, what encapsulates what the Formula 4 Spanish Championship has been this season, and what indeed we hope for it to be for the rest of the year. Many teams, many drivers opting for that win, for that podium, those podium positions, and somehow MP Motorsport still holding on ahead of the rest. Now, are they going to hold on tomorrow? I don't know what you guys think. As I say often in these cases, I like to bet with peas, the green peas. So I would bet one green pea that we might have a different championship leader tomorrow as opposed to today.
I'm not sure. I don't eat many vegetables, Alex, so I'm not sure. If it was a steak, I might be a bit more interested. But no, I think you're absolutely right. It's oh yeah. If you could get me a crate of Pepsi Max, that'd be great. But no, I think you're right though. It's got to be it'd be a small bet because it's so unpredictable in this championship. And Zach, I know that we share the same sentiment. You never know what you're going to get out of this. Our point spreadsheets are just so many different colours because everybody keeps finishing in so many different orders.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and that's exactly what you want out of a championship. You don't want the predictability. The best bit about motorsport is the almost always suspended in this sense of anticipation. You never actually know what's going to happen. I will agree with Alex. I think that Casper Shawmans probably is looking a little bit stronger than Rocco Coronel so far this weekend, both on pure pace but also decision making. Shawmans' racecraft this weekend from race 1 and race 2 I think has been a little bit better than from what we've seen from Rocco Coronel. In race 2 I think Coronel settled a little bit too early in that pack for sort of from about 5th, 6th and 7th. He was getting into those battles with Montero too much rather than chasing the podium, whereas Shawmans, both in race 1 and in race 2, got his head down from lap 1. And the results show as such. Casper Shawmans is looking really, really strong this weekend, heading into round number 4 when we conclude round 3 tomorrow. I would probably say, if all goes well for Casper Shawmans, he'll be leading the championship.
I'm sure Alex agrees, don't you? I think Shawmans has got to be the one to take it to Coronel tomorrow.
Most likely, at least it's looking that way, but that's the wonder of motorsport. We have one race to see still, one more time that we go on track, and that would be enough for anything to happen. Anyone who is within 25 points of the championship leader has a chance. So bring it on, I say.
Absolutely, bring it on, and we cannot wait to go racing again tomorrow. Of course, we still have our podium to complete. The top 3 drivers are making their way up on to the top 3 steps. Zoe Florescu up there as well. She was the race-winning female driver, I believe, in that one, which is the sort of procedure that they have to have their female driver up on the podium as well. Second place for Casper Shawmans. He worked really hard for that second place, didn't he, Zach? I don't think he's ever going to have worked that hard for second before. Flipping heck.
Yeah, it was a tight one. Again, Shawmans was... I think he played that race really well. You know, maybe with a bit more aggression. I say with a bit more aggression. Not really sure how much more aggression he could have had, to be honest. You know, the moves that we saw under braking into the hairpin were quite plentiful, but he was really clever that race. Maybe with a bit more he could have gotten the lead, but he solidified a very strong second. When we talk about the championship, that's very important.
And we'll now just remain quiet for the rest of the British national anthem. And there you go, you can see a big smile on the face of Nathan Ty, really chuffed with that one. And I think it's a great story that he's been able to take such an emphatic victory to obviously not just have it gifted to him by a reverse grid or anything like that. And again, just showing how difficult the format is in this championship, Zach, with the qualifying figuring out both of the first two races from your first and second qualifying laps. Consistency is really key in this series, and more, I'd argue more so than a lot of other racing series around the world.
I completely agree. I really like the format of second fastest lap because, you know,
Yeah.
you maybe could argue it undermines qualifying a little bit. Is qualifying all about that one lap? I think we still do have that, though, in the qualifying format that we've got, because that decides race one, which you have an opportunity to score 25 points in. The fact that the second fastest lap dictates your starting position for race two, I think is a really good way of doing it. It puts the pressure on the drivers. It means that you have to deliver not once, but twice. It does shake up the grid a little bit, but like we saw there, you are almost always going to have the same few drivers flourish, both in their fastest and in their second fastest lap times, and Nathan Tighe has been the one to deliver. He is there on pure pace, and today he's proved that he can have that aggression that he needs to go all the way and take victory. Now the pressure is on, because there's another qualifying session tomorrow for an extra 2 championship points for Nathan Tighe, potentially if he gets another pole. He needs to deliver. You know, the weekend is not done yet. As good as this feels, there's still more work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's similar to what I was saying before about if you have a really good race at the end of a weekend, then you've got until the next round of the championship to live on that high. Or if you have a bad race, you get quite the opposite. You know, you've got a long time to linger in that horrible feeling. Whereas for these guys now, they've only got overnight to enjoy it before they have to think, right, back to work, let's crack on, have a good qualifying session. They don't need to think about a second fastest lap tomorrow, so maybe they'll just go for it for that one lap. They'll put a bit more into making sure that one lap is done. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. They're going to spray the champagne. Oh, he got absolutely nailed with that, did Nathan Tighe. He smashed the ball down. Oh, goodness me. I do love a champagne fight on a podium. It always makes you smile as a commentator, doesn't it? It's always good fun.
It does. He struggled to get the cork off, did Nathan Tighe, for a second.
Yeah.
He did eventually manage to do it, but yeah, plenty of highlights for Nathan Tighe over the course of that race. We'll take a look at them in just a second, but what a sensational race, and, well, a good way to end off the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've had 2 nearly half-hour races, and they have not felt like it. It felt like a 5-minute sprint. It's been absolutely brilliant fun. Unfortunately, the incident at the start of the race did take a few of our drivers out of contention. Lucia, Neto and Frigole involved in that one. But in this one, we only had 1 safety car. And before we knew it, we had quintets and quartets absolutely everywhere fighting for position. Some great battles all over the field. Interesting to see Rocco Coronel not making the progress he wanted, but Casper Schormans has been a real star today. We'll see if he can be just as much of a star tomorrow and retake the championship lead as we return to Motorland Aragon for the F4 Spanish Championship. Thank you for listening to me, Chaz Draycott, and the wonderful Zach Sweeney today. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage, and we will be back again with the only race for us tomorrow, and we'll see you again soon.
I dare you to say something. My focus is A1. Every dog has its day. It's been mine since day one. This is real.